What if I told you the deadliest weapons of the 21st century aren't bombs, tanks, or fighter jets, but the ones designed to stop them? Every modern war is a race for the sky, and whoever wins that race decides what lives and what doesn't. Air defense systems today can track targets 500 kilometers away, shoot down missiles flying 20 times the speed of sound, and even intercept threats in space. Sounds like science fiction? It's not. But here's the twist. Some of the most powerful air defense systems in the world aren't even in the countries you'd expect. From Israel's Iron Dome that turns rocket swarms into fireworks to Russia's S-500 that claims to shoot down hypersonic weapons. This isn't just a list of radars and rockets. It's the story of how nations are building invisible shields and what happens when those shields fail. So buckle up. This is not what you think. If you ever visit Washington, D.C., you'll probably see the White House, the Capitol, maybe even the Lincoln Memorial. But what you won't see is what's pointing a missile at you. Because hidden behind trees, parked behind fences, or tucked into unmarked buildings is one of the most underrated air defense systems in the world, NASAMS. It stands for Norwegian Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile System. And yes, the first system ever deployed to protect the skies over America's capital is, weirdly, Norwegian. Developed by Norway's Kongsberg and the US giant Raytheon, NASAMS is what happens when you mix Scandinavian practicality with American firepower. Instead of building a custom interceptor, it simply uses AMRAAM missiles, the same kind that fighter jets launch at Mach 4. Only now, they're fired from the ground. The result? A surprisingly agile and modular system that can shoot down planes, drones, and cruise missiles up to 40 kilometers away, and do it fast. It's already seen action in Ukraine, where it helped shoot down Russian caliber missiles with clinical precision, which is pretty impressive for a system originally designed in the 1990s. But what makes NASAMS unique isn't just the missiles, it's the network. Each unit talks to others, shares tracking data, and integrates into larger NATO air defense grids. Think of it like the Wi-Fi of missile defense, not the biggest, but always connected. So next time you're in Washington and hear something buzz overhead, just remember, there's a chance a Norwegian missile system is quietly watching your every move. Welcome to modern air defense. Welcome to NASAM. Germany doesn't start wars anymore, but it's quietly getting very, very good at ending missiles mid-air. Enter Iris TSLM, a name that sounds more like a printer model than a high-tech weapon system. But don't let that fool you. This system was barely finished when Germany sent it into combat. Literally. The first full unit wasn't even delivered to the German military before it was shipped off to Ukraine. Call it field testing, call it desperation, either way, it worked. Iris TSLM is short to medium range, with a max intercept range of about 40 kilometers. Not massive, but it's brutally accurate. Infrared homing missiles, fast launch, vertical deployment, and the ability to hit low-flying, maneuvering targets like cruise missiles or drones. In Ukraine, it reportedly intercepted dozens of Russian cruise missiles with near-perfect reliability. And that's not from simulations. That's under real fire, with real consequences. Part of the secret? It sees more than most. It uses advanced radar and thermal tracking, so jamming it doesn't work. Decoys don't help. Stealth? Iris T doesn't care. And it's mobile. Launchers on trucks, radar systems that set up in minutes, all networked to create a flexible, layered shield. So why is it only number 9? Because it's still rare. Germany has only delivered a few units. But in terms of raw capability, it punches well above its weight. If NASAMS is Wi-Fi, Iris T is fiber optic. Precise, fast, and hard to jam. When Israel and India teamed up to build a missile defense system, Most people didn't pay attention, but maybe they should have. Because Barak VIII, also known as LRSAM, is the air defense system you've probably never heard of, but probably should have. Barak means lightning in Hebrew, and this system lives up to the name. It's fast, it's smart, and it works both at sea and on land, defending everything from aircraft carriers to military bases. And unlike most systems that specialize in just one type of threat, Barak VIII is a generalist. It tracks fighter jets, cruise missiles, sea-skimming threats, and it does it all simultaneously. Its range? Between 70 and 150 kilometers, depending on the version. Guidance? Active radar homing, which means it doesn't need constant babysitting once the missile is fired. The real power, though, is in the system's radar, a massive multifunction array that can track dozens of targets and direct interceptors with split-second accuracy. India has deployed Barak VIII on its Navy destroyers and land-based batteries. Israel uses it to defend against regional threats from the north and east. And together, they've created a highly adaptable shield that blends Israeli electronics and Indian production at scale. A rare mix of innovation and accessibility. It's not as famous as Iron Dome. It doesn't get the headlines like S-400. But Barak VIII is the kind of system you build when you expect the next war to come from anywhere, and you want to be ready. If you think missile defense only happens on land, think again. Some of the world's most advanced air defense systems float. Meet the Aegis combat system, America's sea-based shield that turns warships into fully autonomous anti-air fortresses. Deployed on U.S. Navy destroyers and cruisers, as well as ships from Japan, South Korea, Spain, and others, Aegis isn't just a missile system, it's a whole ecosystem. Radars, fire control, vertical launch systems, and missile interceptors, all talking to each other in real time. The heart of Aegis is the Spy-1 radar, a phased array system that can track over 100 targets simultaneously across hundreds of kilometers. And when it sees a threat, it responds in seconds. Aegis launches missiles like the SM-2, SM-6, and SM-3, depending on the job. Need to shoot down a cruise missile? Use SM-2. Targeting a hypersonic glider? Go for SM-6. Want to hit a ballistic missile in space? That's SM-3's job. Yes, Aegis can shoot things in space, with missiles, from a ship. And it's not just about defense. Aegis can work in offensive mode too, launching Tomahawk cruise missiles or controlling carrier strike group airspace. It's a brain, not just a trigger. Why is it number 7? Because it's limited to where ships can go. You can't park it in a landlocked country. But if your country has a coastline, or friends that do, Aegis might be your best shield. And if you're an enemy plane or missile, Aegis doesn't see a threat, it sees a target. You've probably heard of Iron Dome, the Israeli system that turns incoming rockets into mid-air confetti. But what happens when the threat is bigger, faster, and flies farther? That's when Israel calls in David's Sling. Named after the biblical underdog who beat a giant with one perfect shot, David's Sling is designed for much bigger targets. Tactical ballistic missiles, large drones, and long-range cruise missiles. The stuff Iron Dome can't handle. It fills the gap between Iron Dome's short range and the ultra-long-range Arrow system, creating a seamless, layered defense. At its core is the Stunner Interceptor, a missile that doesn't just explode near its target, it hunts it down with dual-mode seekers, adjusting its path mid-flight like it has a grudge. It can engage targets from 40 to 300 kilometers away, and it's designed to be fast, agile, and smart. In short, it's Iron Dome's more dangerous big brother. And just like its little brother, David's Sling has already proven itself in combat. In May 2023, it was used to intercept rockets fired at Tel Aviv, marking its first real-world engagement. And it didn't miss. The system is co-developed with the US, which means it's packed with American radar tech and partially funded by the Pentagon. It's not just Israeli defense, it's joint investment in staying ahead of modern threats. David's Sling doesn't get the media attention that Iron Dome does. But quietly, it's becoming one of the most critical air defense tools in Israel's arsenal. And maybe, one day, yours too. In a world of billion-dollar air defense systems, Iron Dome does something radical. It works, a lot, and in actual wars. Developed by Israel's Rafael and funded in part by the United States, Iron Dome is probably the only air defense system that gets live tested on a weekly basis. It's built for one thing: intercepting short-range threats, rockets, artillery shells, drones, fast and cheap. And in a region where thousands of rockets can fall in a matter of days, it has to be. Here's how it works. When a launch is detected, the system instantly calculates where the projectile will land. If it's heading toward an open field, it doesn't waste a missile. But if it's targeting a city, Iron Dome launches an interceptor. Those interceptors are Tamir missiles, small, agile, and deadly accurate. They engage threats at ranges up to 70 kilometers and have a hit probability that's often quoted above 90%. In practice, it's saved thousands of lives in Israel and prevented untold billions in damage. Not bad for a system people originally said would never work. It's mobile, modular, and scalable. Israel uses it to protect everything from border towns to power plants. The US has tested it for short-range base protection. Even Ukraine has asked for it. And unlike other systems that mostly train and simulate, Iron Dome fights regularly. It's not perfect. It's not meant for long-range threats. But for what it does, intercepting unguided rockets in the final seconds of flight, Iron Dome is unmatched. It's the first line of defense, and sometimes the only one that matters. Most air defense systems shoot missiles out of the sky. THAAD takes it one step further. It shoots them out of space. The Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, or THAAD, isn't your average missile interceptor. It's designed to take out ballistic missiles as they re-enter the atmosphere, traveling at up to 17,000 kilometers per hour. That's faster than a rifle bullet. And THAAD doesn't even use an explosive warhead. It just crashes into the target. Hard. This is called hit-to-kill technology, and it's not easy. You're basically trying to hit a bullet with another bullet, in space, in real time. Developed by Lockheed Martin, THAAD uses powerful X-band radar to track incoming missiles, then launches an interceptor with incredible speed and maneuverability. Its range? About 200 kilometers. Its altitude? Up to the edge of space. And unlike many systems that need outside support, THAAD is fully self-contained. Radar, launchers, and command systems all travel together. That makes it mobile, deployable, and effective almost anywhere. It's already operational in South Korea, Guam, Israel, the UAE, and more, often to defend against threats from countries like North Korea or Iran. Controversial? Yes. Expensive? Absolutely. But effective? Without a doubt. THAAD is less about defending cities and more about protecting regions, bases, and allies from the unthinkable. Nuclear-capable ballistic missiles. It's not flashy. You won't see it shoot drones. But if a missile is coming at Mach 15, THAAD is your last, best hope. If missile defense systems had a Hall of Fame, the Patriot would already have a statue. And probably a few battle scars. First used in combat during the Gulf War, the Patriot system has gone through decades of upgrades, dozens of deployments, and more than a few controversies. But today, with the PAC-3 variant, it's deadlier than ever. PAC-3 stands for Patriot Advanced Capability. And it's not just a fancy name. The new interceptor is smaller, faster, and more precise, designed to take out ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and even aircraft. Unlike earlier versions that relied on proximity blasts, PAC-3 uses hit-to-kill tech, the same concept as THAAD. It slams into the target with raw kinetic energy, less explosion, more obliteration. It's also fully integrated with modern radar systems that track hundreds of targets, filter out decoys, and coordinate with NATO networks in real time. Range? Around 35 to 40 kilometers for the PAC-3 missile. But combined with its radar and layered systems, the full battery protects much farther out. Patriot systems are used by over a dozen countries, including Germany, Japan, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and now Ukraine, where it recently helped shoot down a Russian Kinzhal hypersonic missile. That's right, one of the fastest missiles in the world, shot down by a system first deployed when Nirvana was still on the radio. It's not cheap, and it's not perfect. But the Patriot has survived every test war could throw at it. And, in many ways, it still sets the standard. When enemies launch, the Patriot doesn't blink. It fires back. It's been called a game changer, a NATO nightmare, and a diplomatic grenade. It's also one of the most controversial weapons on Earth. This is the Russian S-400 Triumph. And whether you love it, fear it, or sanction it, you can't ignore it. Developed by Almaz Antey, the S-400 is designed to do one thing extremely well: destroy anything that flies. Fighter jets, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, drones, stealth aircraft. Check, 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 and allegedly check. With a claimed range of up to 400 kilometers and the ability to track 80 targets at once, the S-400 can launch different types of missiles depending on the threat, from short-range, quick-response rounds to long-range interceptors designed to take down AWACS or tankers before they even cross the border. It's also built to survive. The launchers are mobile, radar systems are hardened against jamming, and the entire battery can go from travel to ready to fire in minutes. But what really makes the S-400 unique is who's buying it. Turkey, a NATO member, bought it and got kicked out of the F-35 program. India bought it and risked US sanctions. China, already deployed. Egypt, interested. That's because the S-400 isn't just a weapon. It's a political statement. One that says, we don't trust Western air cover. Is it as effective as Russia claims? Hard to verify. But even conservative estimates put it near the top of global capability. It's big, it's fast, it's exported, and in the right hands, or the wrong ones, it changes the rules of the game. Every air defense system on this list protects the sky. But the S-500, it aims higher, much higher. Designed to intercept ballistic missiles, hypersonic weapons, and even low-orbit satellites, the S-500 Prometi isn't just an air defense system. It's Russia's attempt at space denial. Officially, it can engage targets at ranges up to 600 kilometers and altitudes above 100 kilometers, brushing the edge of space. That puts it squarely in the realm of strategic missile defense, way beyond traditional systems like S-400 or Patriot. It's built to counter stealth aircraft, ICBM reentry vehicles, and yes, even hypersonic glide weapons. Russia claims it can take down targets moving faster than Mach 15. Is that true? Possibly. But like many advanced systems, its actual performance remains classified, or exaggerated. Maybe both. What we do know is that the S-500 has entered limited service with Russian forces. And it's not just an upgraded S-400. It uses entirely new interceptors, radars, and engagement protocols. It's designed not to defend a battlefield, but a continent. That scale comes with cost, in complexity, deployment time, and, well, actual cost. You won't see the S-500 sold to export customers anytime soon. It's too strategic, too sensitive, and possibly still unfinished. But if it works as advertised, it could be the first real air defense system capable of neutralizing a hypersonic threat in flight. It's futuristic, unproven, and terrifying, which, depending on where you're standing, makes it the perfect number one. So here we are, 10 systems, 10 ways to stop things from falling out of the sky and ruining someone's day. But here's the twist. The better we get at defending the sky, the more we realize how vulnerable it actually is. In the Cold War, air defense was about stopping bombers. Today, it's about intercepting supersonic cruise missiles, hypersonic glide vehicles, swarm drones, and maybe even satellite debris. The sky has never been more crowded or more dangerous, and yet, almost every one of these systems is reactive. They wait for something to launch, then try to shoot it down, which raises a quiet, uncomfortable question. What happens when the offense moves faster than the defense can think? Maybe the future of air defense isn't bigger missiles, but smarter networks, AI, directed energy, or systems that don't just defend, but preempt. Because the next generation of threats won't just fly, they'll adapt, deceive, and learn. And if we're not ready, no amount of Iron Domes or Promethean missiles will matter. Until then, we keep building shields and hope no one tests them too hard. Thanks for watching. Stay grounded, think higher.